Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel and also the YouTube channel Wisdom for Those Who Are Awakening. Today my video is going to be a forecast analysis of a period of time that could cover any time beginning now to the year 2043. And I'm going to be referencing the ingress chart of when Pluto went into Aquarius. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this chart. All right. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with ingresses, the best way I can explain this to you is it's like the birth chart of a planet going into a sign. And from that chart, you can get a relative idea of what to expect during the period of time in which that planet is in that sign. So we're going to take a look here at aspects from Pluto, also possibly from Saturn and Uranus, because all of these will give you a sense of the energy that is going on during this particular period of time. Now, for those of you who may be going, oh my God, we're talking about 2025 to 2043. Is this going to be a nightmare? No. Okay? Because there'll be aspects to this particular chart that are going to minimize or alter the intensity and the effect of the energy that is shown in this particular chart as a birth chart. But you could say that the overall flavor, the overall feel of that period of time is going to be somewhat symbolically represented by these particular planetary aspects. Okay. Another thing to keep in mind for those of you who are learning astrology and wondering about how things manifest, what's the difference between the levels of intensity, you always look at the aspect. How close is the aspect? If the aspect is very close, the likelihood is that the event will manifest with a greater degree of intensity than if it is a wide aspect. Okay, and of course this can be different depending upon the planets involved. There seems to be oftentimes a wider aspect with the planets Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto than, let's say, with the planets Saturn on down to maybe the sun and moon. And the orbs in most cases with the sun and moon have a tendency to be wider. But it differs and it depends upon a lot of other factors as well. Things that you couldn't actually go into here because it would be taking away from the main focus here. But if you're learning astrology, those are things that you learn. Okay, now, so what are we looking at for the next 19 years while Pluto goes into the sign of Aquarius? All right, well, we're already beginning to see some of these effects. Okay, the most prominent aspect in this particular chart is the opposition between Pluto and Mars, and also Pluto and the Moon. Pluto and the moon is a much wider aspect. Okay, so what this is telling me is that this is a period of a lot of emotion. Okay, a lot of feeling, maybe in a sense of being out of control. Okay, and of course that brings in vulnerability, it brings in fear. When you're talking about Pluto opposing Mars, you're talking about aggression, you're talking about potential and violence even. Okay, and it's obvious that all of these things that are being forecast here are things that we are experiencing right now. And it does seem like that the most pronounced effects of planets in an ingress situation, the effect is stronger in the beginning and at the end. Okay, and then all the way through, it has a tendency to be altered and changed by other aspects. But the forecast, if I were to make a forecast, which is essentially what I'm doing here, is that over the period of the next 19 years, in varying and different degrees, this conflict, all right, this aggressiveness, all right, this kind of pissing match, so to speak, going on between the two political factions is going to be very prominent as we are trying to deal with our individual fears and our belief systems and our values, and that they need to change. And this is one of the things about Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, is that they, in a sense, are the timing of your higher self, whether that be for you as an individual, or it be for us as a country, or it be for us as a world. Okay? It is a indication of the aggression, because there is a sense that changes are happening that we have no control over. Okay? Our ego loves to feel that it's in control. Its whole function is to be in control. And when it feels threatened, okay, and you feel fear and vulnerability, you're going to have to deal with anger. Okay? You're going to have to find an outlet for that. And you can do two things with it. You can express it in physical violence and in anger, or you can, in a sense, in an inverted sense, you can surrender those lower feelings for higher conscious awareness about why it is happening. Okay? Part of my work as an astrologer is to share with you my impressions, my analysis of what I feel or intuit could manifest, which may or may not be right in terms of the overall end result, and to bring to your awareness and your attention why these feelings are happening. Why has it seemed like that the values and the structure of the American way of life has come to a point to where it seems like that the whole thing is being blown apart? Why? All right? Same thing applies to your personal life. All right? If things are happening in your personal life that are out of your control, it is because you need to take a very strong look at your life. All right? It is not designed to punish you. Never is it designed to punish you. It is to give you the opportunity to consciously wake up to a different way of seeing yourself. Okay? A good many people understand that, and they grow. Others find ways of escaping, dealing with themselves, and they create more pain and suffering for themselves. All right? This is the true meaning of what's going on right now, and I've mentioned this over and over and over again, is that we're being forced to deal with ourselves. You know, it's like we have been playing this illusionary game of this is what it's like to be a human being on planet Earth. This is what's important: money, fame, success. This is what's important. And the reality of it is that those do not fulfill you very long. Okay, so you have to reevaluate. America has to reevaluate what its values are, what its purpose is. Okay, it's gotten screwed up along the way. Okay, success for most Americans is screwed up in terms of what's important. Your purpose okay, which may have been defined by your education or your upbringing. You come to a point of finding out that's not who you are, that's not what your purpose is. So you need to find out, okay, what you stand for, who you are. And to do that in a way that doesn't require that you have to be violent to do that. And that is the biggest hurdle. Okay, when you feel vulnerable and you feel afraid because you feel out of control, it's very normal to aggressively act out, to project, okay, onto others. And of course that creates its own mess if you continue down that path. The hardest thing for any of us to do is to own the responsibility for what we project, what we create, okay? And to find a way to deal with that that is non-violent, non-harmful to ourselves and others, okay? So let's take a look here at some other factors that we have to look at, okay? And again, for those of you that may be scratching your head and you've only looked at birth charts and stuff, understand this is the birth chart of Pluto going into Aquarius. And this tells us what we can expect in relative terms, and it will fluctuate over the period of 19 years. I'll be doing the same probably with Uranus and Neptune and talking about them because they'll give you a sense of the flavor of the time that we're looking at, you know. And I know that there's many out there that hope that what is happening will just kind of magically go away. All right, but it's not going to go away magically, at least not until something of a major consequence happens and a significant amount of people wake up and reclaim their personal power, their personal gifts, talents, abilities, and begin to act upon them, okay, in whatever way they are shown to act upon them. All right, so Pluto, big impact, particularly with Mars, okay, aggression. Not so much with the moon, but it shows the emotional impact of feeling out of control, almost like you're being elbowed, okay, to control your emotion, to control your fear. All right, and of course that doesn't last very long. Okay, if you haven't got a way to deal with those inner fears, to understand them, okay, to transmute them, then you're going to express those in emotional outbursts, okay? Neptune squaring Venus, or not Venus, Mercury. You could almost say in a way that we're living in a Neptune world to where logic and reasoning throw it out the door. All right, of course, Neptune is the great dissolver. Whenever you have an aspect of Neptune, a hard aspect, okay, of Neptune to any planet, the effect is that that particular experience is not your norm, okay, in a sense. It creates a problem where certain beliefs, attitudes that you may have need to be altered, need to be changed, need to be faced, and the way you have been has to end. So Neptune comes in, creates circumstances that are maybe confusing in the beginning, but they cause you to eventually come to an understanding. And here, Neptune squaring Mercury very much is lying and decepting, okay, or being conned, okay. So, in one sense, in communications, in business, because business is ruled by Mercury as well, you're probably talking about, in some form or another, deception, dishonesty, things of this nature, confusion, okay, are all kind of a sign of this period. And again, this is what happens in the process of evolving, is that we go through a crisis, we become afraid, confused, uncertain, okay, extremely vulnerable, and we go through a period of, in a sense, suffering because we haven't found the answer, all right? And at some point, it'll become very clear once the dust settles. For many, but not all, some will continue to find ways of escaping, dealing with themselves, and they'll hide in different things, you know. their work, their goals and dreams and things of that nature that may have nothing to do with their true purpose. Okay, so Neptunian energy, very strong. Okay, you can see here Uranus opposing the Sun. Okay, now in this particular chart, Uranus opposing the Sun would be representing the establishment, the presidency, for example, leadership and stuff like that. Uranus, of course, is a situation of change, revolution, unexpected, type of events that can be very turbulent, very problematic. So this period of time is going to be one in which, from the standpoint of those that are in leadership, that there is going to be a lot of uncertainty created by things, again, out of their control, but it's also the sign of the planetary energy of revolution and change. And again, Uranus rules Aquarius. Okay, so you can see how Uranus becomes very significant because Pluto is going into Aquarius. All right, so this is why we see the things evolving as they are politically. Okay. All right, going into Saturn. Saturn, you can see here that Mercury is afflicted during this period of time. And again, keep in mind that what I'm telling you here is the potential for this period. There will be aspects to this chart that will alter the severity and the strength of all the things that I'm talking to you about. Okay, and again, as I mentioned earlier, you have to take into consideration what is the degree of separation of the aspects. Saturn, fortunately, is not very close to squaring Mercury, but it still is an indication, okay, of difficulty in communicating, difficulty in working together. Okay, you have this situation here of Saturn squaring Jupiter, for example, and Jupiter rules Republicans, Saturn rules Democrats. So you have an indication here symbolically that the two sides are not going to get together very soon, most likely, unless there's an aspect of a favorable nature to this opposition that could indicate a change. Okay, now I know there are a lot of individuals out there that probably have different variations of the forecast. Okay, and many of them may be more hopeful than others. All right, and they're well-meaning. They want to give you the impression that it's just around the corner, that things are going to change. All right, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a much more drawn-out, long-term process of evolution. Okay, doesn't mean it couldn't get better in the foreseeable future, but until certain things change or certain things are realized, I see that probably through the period of this Pluto in Aquarius, you're talking about really unexpected, rapid change, okay, of really our entire way of life. And how far this will go, to what extreme it will go, really is not known. That would take looking at a whole bunch of charts over a long period of time and seeing if there's critical points where there's a mass buildup of energy. All right, but in an overall sense, all right, what I'm saying to you here is that for the next 19 years that Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius, it's talking about revolutionary change. Okay, and it will not be simple or easy. Now, I may at some point also go back and do a little bit more of a reading, a video, on the entrance of Neptune into the fourth house of the USA chart, and also Saturn, which follows it very quickly. All right. If the timing is relatively right of the USA chart, this is an indication of a really challenging and difficult period in which the home environment, represented by the fourth house, the structure of it that we have known and understood, goes through, again, the dissolving effect of Neptune. So the way that you have learned to see America, okay, and what it means to be in America, that whole structure could be going through a rapid change. And it will be important that we understand that, because we'll need to take action upon that. Now, the positive offshoot of Neptune is that it's also the planet of spiritual illumination and revelation. So while the old structure might seem to be continuing to crumble and fall apart in many ways, shapes, or forms, because it'll affect the world politically, economically, the whole 9 yards, all right? If we are tuned within, if we are grasping the significance of the changes going on, then we will know what we have to do. When Saturn goes in, that can further indicate difficulties and severities, the need to bring structure to what is crumbling. All right, so there is a positive aspect to Neptune and Saturn going into the 4th house, but initially, again, it may seem to be troubling. It may seem to be an unfortunate circumstance, but the reality of the times that we're living in, okay, is that change is the order of the day, and that the world that we grew up in, for those of you like myself that are 70 or somewhere in the area of 55, 65 to 75, 80, that world is gone. Okay, there's a new world coming in, and determining, depending upon how we react to it, okay, it could be an awakening and a realization of something that we never could have imagined in the past, all right, or it could be one step closer to the feared annihilation and destruction of everything that we see around us. Okay, that is the critical question that we all must ask ourselves. Okay, if the past is not working, all right, we can fight to resist the change, but I guarantee you that the change will swallow us up. Okay, so Saturn, again, Saturn squaring Mercury, Saturn squaring Jupiter. Saturn's also in the 11th house, which has to deal with everything to a degree, from friendships, associations with groups, political organizations, and otherwise. All right, so that's another indication of the impact of Saturn during that period of time in communications, and hopefulness when you're talking about Jupiter. So we have a tremendous amount of challenges ahead of us. The Moon and Mars, for example, here in the 4th house. Okay, 4th house is our private, personal life. Okay, our intimate foundation, so to speak, of our views about home, the mother, of life in general. Okay, whereas the 10th house would be the house of career, the house of the outer world. Okay, that type of thing, change. Okay, so this particular video is not to bring more of a heavy feeling upon you. Again, I've mentioned this so many times that when I do videos, these videos can be very challenging because of the fact that when I'm talking about things that emotionally that most are not wanting to hear or able to accept, I could put my head in the sand and say, don't talk about that, all right? Or I can try to explain to my subscribers and the members of this channel what I feel the charts are indicating. And then, as I mentioned before, the other channel, Wisdom for Those Awakening, over there I can talk to you about your emotions, your feelings, your anger, your vulnerability, and I can give you some insight and clarity about how you can take steps to deal with that so that you can grow beyond the anxiety and the fear that this is going to create. Okay? And again, as I've said so many times when I do videos, I don't consider myself to be making predictions. I consider myself to be making an analysis of a period of time based upon the energies represented in the horoscope. I feel that that's the most an astrologer can do. Okay, that really anybody can do, because I don't have control over your personal life. Okay, I may influence it to a certain degree because of what I'm sharing with you, but I rely upon you, trusting that you will do what you feel you need to do. And from a karmic perspective, that's what you're going to do anyhow. Okay, but for those of you that watch my broadcast and you're aware, awake, you know this change is coming. All right, you know what you should be doing. Now, whether you're doing it or not is an individual matter. Okay, and hopefully you will take what I'm saying to heart, and that you will begin to do the things you know you need to do to align yourself up with your higher evolutionary purpose. Because again, that's really what's going on here, the waking up of humanity. Okay, I'm pretty much done here, I feel. And like I said, I'm going to do maybe two more, one on Uranus, one on Neptune, to give you a sense of the flavor of what to expect and how to feel and how to deal with it. All right. And I'm also going to do a couple short videos, one of them on the classes, the astrology classes that I've been talking about, and the other one is going to be on the weekly live streams. I'm really enjoying doing the live streams on a weekly basis. I feel like that my guidance is behind that, and I'm feeling like that there are those of you that are benefiting from that, and I'm very glad and thankful for that. All right. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that so that you're more well informed and you hear more from me than just writing it down and typing it in the community section. I want you to get a sense of what it is I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what the overall purpose of it is. And then when it comes to the astrology classes, I took a poll out about 2 months ago, and between 40 and 60 people had commented in there that they wanted to take astrology classes. Well, when I put out the information for the astrology classes, all right, I think to date, maybe I have had a response of around 10 people. So somehow I'm not communicating effectively what the purpose is or how I'm going to do those classes. So I'm going to do a short little video talk about that so that you can decide whether or not that is something for you, and give you an idea about what it's going to be involved, how it's going to be conducted, what the cost will be, which is very minimal. All right, I'm basically going to charge $10 for a session per student per week, all right, and cover a wide range of astrological knowledge, and as well as teaching you some of the things you might not know because you maybe are not practicing astrology, or you have not learned what you have not learned and understood about astrology. So keep that in mind. Again, this Saturday at 10 o'clock. It seems like the 10 o'clock on Saturdays is the best time to do the live streams. So you can pretty much, I think, count on that from here on out. It's going to be 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Saturday mornings that I will be doing the live streams. And I think that probably the classes for astrology are going to be maybe Sunday evening, something like that. I'll know more once I realize, what I'm working with, who wants to be a part of the classes. And if you're going to join me in those classes, I need you to send an email to astrologyclasses@protonmail.com. This is the only way that I can get an idea of who's interested and inform you about the classes itself. All right. So keep that in mind, and I'll be talking more about that when I do the individual video about the classes themselves. Okay. I hope that you find this informative and that it helps you to understand and clarify things for you. Those of you that are members and subscribers, again, thank you so much for your being a part of this for about 8 years now. And thank you for those of you that donate, whether it be occasionally or on a monthly basis. It's appreciated. It's very helpful. And again, I'm so glad to be feeling like I'm in the direction that I need to go. One of the things that I realized about the period that I went through is that I had to change the way I was doing things online. That the old way just didn't seem to be making the type of connection that I wanted to make. So I'm hoping that by connecting with you through live video exchange, okay, that it will bring in, for me, new guidance and understanding that I can share with you. That's my hope. All right. Okay, from the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, best friend, we thank you again for all of the support that you offer us, and we trust that we're able to give you in return what it is that you hope that we can do for you. And I trust that you're going to have a great week ahead. Thank you for watching.